Music has a special way of touching our hearts in ways many things cannot. And if you're tuning into this podcast, you probably think so too. On each episode of Classical Post, we uncover a creative mind behind music we find particularly exceptional. Coming to you from New York, Classical Post is created and produced by Gold Sound Media, a marketing and PR agency for the performing arts industry. I'm your host, Jonathan Eifert, creative director at Gold Sound Media, and I hope you find something inspiring in this episode. Few faces in classical music are more recognizable right now than that of Finnish conductor Klaus Mäkelä. Not because of his sculptural good looks and piercing blue eyes, but because he's quickly become one of today's most popular conductors. At just 28 years old, Mäkelä has already racked up an impressive resume, including his current roles as music director of the Orchestre de Paris, chief conductor of the Oslo Philharmonic, and chief conductor designate of the Royal Concertgebouw Orchestra. But despite his face-adorning posters plastered on concert hall facades across Europe, Mäkelä doesn't want to be the center of attention. When he's on the podium, he'd much rather you focus on the composers whose works he brings to life. Music lovers in North America will have several opportunities to hear Mäkelä's prodigious talents this month when he and the Orchestre de Paris embark on a tour of Montreal, Boston, Ann Arbor, and New York, where the young conductor will make his highly anticipated Carnegie Hall debut conducting Stravinsky's Firebird Ballet and The Volcanic Rite of Spring, two works Mäkelä and the orchestra recorded and released to critical acclaim on Decca Classics in 2023. In this episode of the Classical Post podcast, Mäkelä and I talk more about the upcoming tour and what he's most looking forward to when he steps onto the stage of Carnegie Hall. Plus, he shares how the visual arts inspire his artistry, the 18th century composer he'd love to play chamber music with, and the importance of Emerson, Lake, and Palmer's music during his childhood.
I'm Klaus Mäkelä and I'm a Finnish conductor.
Let's do a round of rapid-fire questions, so just answer with what first comes to mind. What's a talent you have that would surprise our listeners?
I have a strangely, weirdly good memory for some things, certain things. I remember many completely useless facts, but when I need to remember, it's not so good.
If you could collaborate with any artist, dead or alive, who would it be?
There would be so many. But, I would love to play chamber music with Mozart.
If you could go back in time to witness any historical musical event, which one would you choose?
Well, since we're playing Rite of Spring, I would have loved to be in Paris a bit more than 100 years ago and listen to the premiere and see all the chaos and see the original choreography as well.
What's your musical or non-musical guilty pleasure?
Well, there are a few pieces. One of them is Belshazzar's Feast by William Walton.
You're stranded on a desert island and can only take one piece of music with you. What would it be?
B minor Mass of Bach.
If you weren't a musician, what profession would you be in?
I would love to be a luthier of instruments.
Which movie do you wish you could have composed the soundtrack for or performed on it?
My favorite soundtrack of all time is Grand Budapest Hotel, which is composed by Alexander Desplat. But I think he's done it so perfectly that I don't wish to change anything. But I would love to compose it. It would be amazing.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
A stopped time.
What's the first thing you do in the morning?
Always late. So I'm thinking, oh shit, I should have been up already for half an hour.
Which city in the world inspires you the most?
Many of them, but Paris.
What book are you currently reading or would recommend?
Well, I'm currently reading novels by Chekhov, which are very beautiful, in a way very simple, but they're very nice for someone who travels a lot because it kind of takes you away from the reality for a short time.
Which historical figure would you love to have dinner with?
There are so many again. Oh, it's difficult to but I suppose the point is that I should just answer something which comes to my mind first. I would love to have dinner with Stradivari because there were so many questions I would ask him.
As a child, what did you dream of becoming?
It's a bit ridiculous, but a conductor.
What's your go-to comfort food?
Oh, so many. I mean, sushi, if that counts.
Is there an unusual or rare instrument you'd love to learn to play?
If I could choose one, I think it would be the rare Finnish. It's kind of our national instrument called kantele.
What non-classical music or artists do you love and why?
Oh, there's so many. I do listen to a lot of music, which is not classical as well. It depends. When I was a kid, I used to love Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I love the Beatles. I suppose I'm a bit like an old man in my taste. But I hope you don't mind.
Share the story behind one of your most significant performances.
Every concert is somehow memorable, but of course some stand out. I remember last summer, we played the 3 Stravinsky ballets with the Paris Orchestra, accompanied by 3 different films in the Aix-en-Provence Festival. And it was a very unusual thing to play 3 of them in a row. I mean, it's very, very exhausting and but super inspiring. And it was in a very special place, kind of outside the city, which looked kind of like an abandoned box. And the orchestra was absolutely on fire, and I loved every moment. And it was terribly warm and hot and humid and everything, and it was just perfection.
Discuss a pivotal moment in your career and how it influenced your musical direction.
I've been very fortunate and lucky to meet people kind of at the right times, because to to be able to conduct orchestras around the world, you have to meet them at the right time as well. You can be too early, you can be too late, and I was very lucky to meet all my 3 orchestras, Paris, Oslo, and Amsterdam, at the perfect time when I felt comfortable, and also they were open for me. So I suppose it's about that.
Let's pause for a second. Are you an artist or work at an arts organization? I founded Gold Sound Media to help you expand your audience through social media. My team and I work closely with clients around the United States, directly shaping their messaging through customized, strategic content. One of our biggest success stories is our work for the Cliburn, where we drove 25 million viewers, making it one of the most watched classical music events of all time. Get in touch to speak with me directly about how Gold Sound Media can help you. Just head to goldsoundmedia.com. Now, back to the show. Congratulations on your upcoming debut at Carnegie Hall with the Orchestre du Paris. Could you discuss the program with us?
We have a lovely evening of 2 Stravinsky ballets, 2 of the greatest pieces written in the world. We have Firebird, which we play the complete ballet, which is in some ways a conclusion. It's an end of late Romanticism. It's the last great late Romantic work, but it already has one foot in the Impressionism, and it's a fascinating piece. It has all the orchestra color you can imagine. And then Rite of Spring, which is a piece which we were playing it again today in the orchestra, and we played it 1,000 times. And still, every single time we go back to it, it feels like it's the first time. It's a piece which has such enormous rhythmic drive. It has everything. It's built of very, very simple blocks and motives. And what he makes out of that, puts instruments, blends perfectly together. Um, and it's music which is also extremely French. And it suits our orchestra, it suits our French sound particularly well. And we can't wait to bring it to Carnegie.
And obviously, Carnegie Hall is such a storied institution for everyone. What is so special about you coming now to Carnegie? I mean, beyond the obvious, is there something particular that you're really looking forward to?
It's a great honor for us and for our orchestra to travel together there and play music we love, and play music which I can say that we really are very good at. And we're looking forward to be very much inspired by the audience and by the hall. Our home in Paris is a beautiful new concert hall called Philharmonie de Paris, which has great transparency. It has very beautiful acoustic. And Carnegie Hall is one of these halls which has lots of personality in its acoustic, and we're very much looking forward to kind of seeing how we can adapt our sound to make it still sound like us, but in a acoustic which gives us a special color as well.
Because I believe the orchestra is on tour through North America, do you want to talk more about the tour at large?
It's really lovely that we get to travel to the US. It's a wonderful thing for the orchestra, um, playing pieces we really love. We have one orchestral program, which is the 2 Stravinskys, and we're bringing Yunchen Lim with us, who's playing Rachmaninoff's Second Piano Concerto. we're very, of course, glad to come to Carnegie Hall, Boston, Ann Arbor. Then we also go to Canada, to Montreal, and play a concert there. But it's a great moment for the orchestra. And to go on tour is always a very, very good thing for the orchestra, because we learn, but we also are rewarded in a sense that we get to travel and show what we've been working on all these years. So it's really lovely. It's inspiring.
Kind of moving past the music discussion, if we talk about culture at large, can you discuss a memorable experience in a different culture or country that influenced who you are today?
Everything we hear shapes us. And I love visual arts, for example. I love going to a museum. And when I see a great painting, I remember I went to the Arts Institute in Chicago, for example, and they had these amazing El Greco paintings. And I was inspired for days and days and maybe weeks. And it has nothing to do with music, but it provokes a certain type of similar enthusiasm and sort of inspiration. But then we all learn from our teachers, who we should be very grateful for. I was educated by the leading professor in conducting in the world, a Finnish guy called Jorma Panula. And he at the same time taught me everything and nothing, because he let me be myself and was just trying to give a few little advice here and there. And it was always exactly the right advice. So teachers are very important for us all.
How do you want to be remembered in the world of classical music?
A conductor at its best is someone who is serving the music. And even, of course, I hear and see the music through my eyes and ears. I wish that when people hear the piece in a concert, they think of the composer and how wonderful the substance is rather than myself. But I hope that I can be remembered as someone who made it flow effortlessly in the music. Because, I mean, music should breathe. And it should speak and it should shout and everything. And I just try to make it happen, but it's not really, I shouldn't take much pride in that.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Classical Post. If you loved it, give us a 5-star review, as it helps us reach more people. Also, remember to hit that follow button in your podcast app to get notified of new episodes.